You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
All right, this is Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? You know I miss you when we're not talking. You gotta buy that one by now. Come on, kids. I say it to you every day. All right, there's a lot going on in this world, but you're gonna have to bear with me while I get this rant off my chest. I've told y'all before I'm Jewish. That's no surprise. Well, and I knew about this subject, but I had to do a little sniffing around, and this is one I just felt I had to talk about. It's about Palestinian Authority and their payments to people convicted and sentenced to jail for killing or injuring innocent people in Israel, be they Israelis or Americans. Yes. Now, I've got an audio clip here from the permanent representative, Israel's permanent representative to the United Nations, about these payments and how they work. It goes a little more in depth than this, but I just want you to realize the amount of money we're discussing before I continue.
Ezra Schwartz was another American who was visiting Israel, and on November 19, 2015, Ezra was on his way back from a field trip with his schoolmates when he was shot and killed along with two others by Muhammad al-Karoub, another Palestinian terrorist. Al-Karoub was arrested, tried, and convicted, and is now serving 4 life sentences in prison. The Palestinian Authority pays Al-Karoub over $3,000 a month, every month. That's $40,000 a year for killing an innocent American.
Yes. So, if you go to work for the Palestinian Authority and kill an innocent American, you can make $40,000 a year. Now, I don't know if that's before taxes, after taxes, or if they even have taxes over there. Now, where this comes into play, and this has been slightly making the news, but not in as wide a circles as I'd like to see it, so I have to bring it up. Palestinian Authority works largely off foreign aid. Yes, you heard me, foreign aid. Which means, in part, your tax dollars and mine could potentially be part of what is funding the Palestinian Authority's payments to these people that kill our citizens. Now, I think that is just plain messed up. Oh, what's that, host kitty? Yeah, he doesn't like the idea either. And I can't stress enough how messed up that is. You kill an innocent Israeli or American citizen and you go to jail, because Israel doesn't have the death penalty. So you go to jail for life sentences and you will make $40,000 a year. Now, you do a suicide attack and your family gets paid forever by the Palestinian Authority. Yeah. That's how their crazy system works. And they put out some of the craziest propaganda. And I don't often go on these rants, folks. I mostly stick to the news. But I've been looking into this. And this is how it works over in the Palestinian Authority. And just as a reminder, for those of you who are wanting to connect with me and talk with me while I'm on air, you got 3 ways to do it. You can tag me in a tweet. I'm only going to see the ones while I'm on air that you tag me in at Jesse's POV. Because, well, I keep my notifications page up, but I don't keep my news feed up because I got enough going on without seeing all of your tweets unless you tag me. If it's important to bring it to my attention while I'm on air, tag me. Who knows, maybe you'll get a shout out. It's a quick way to get one. Alright, the other way you can connect with me while I'm on air, I'm actually over in the KLRN Radio chat room tonight, and it's kind of quiet, but I'm there. Just go to KLRNradio.com, and there's a nice big thing at the top of the page that says chat room. Click on it, and it'll take you right on over. You can even listen right in that window while you chat with me. Then you can even drop a comment over on Spreaker, and I'll see that too. So you got 3 ways to talk with me while I'm on air. Now, if some of you want to come on and dispute this, if any of you have actually heard this, and you want to come back with other information, shoot me an email at jessespov@KLRNradio. I'll book you as a guest. I will. I have no problem having an opposing point of view on my show. Just know, I will not call you names. That's not my style. Will I challenge what you have to say? Yes. I will challenge what you have to say. However, I will more than happily have you on my show. We'll do a Saturday Slowdown episode, and we will see what comes of it. Because, I'm sorry, paying people to kill other people, isn't that murder for hire? And in this country, at least, it's illegal. I don't know about the laws of Israel, but I suspect it's illegal over there as well. Although I'm no expert on Israeli law. But in many ways, it is modeled after our own. So I'd be willing to go out on that limb and say it probably is illegal. Alright. Rant over for now. Yes, rant over for now. And I say for now, because I'm sure that this will come up. I'll get some blowback from somebody over this. Yes, I have my show prep, and yes, we'll get on with that. First, I want to do something I don't do often enough on the air. I want to thank all of you for listening. Whether you tune in live via iTunes, Google Play, podcast.com, Pocket Casts, wherever. Thank you for listening. Now, here's the show prep you've been waiting for. Yes, there's the show prep. Quite a stack, actually. And we're gonna, of course, we got Iran. I haven't come up with a good sound effect for Iran. I'll have to come up with one. Haven't had time to yet. Of course, I've got some news from Quackers, aka North Korea, on this show. Yes, North Korea. They're at it again. And our friends Russia are pulling a stunt or two. Oh yeah. And Secretary of Defense Mattis is out of the country, or at least on his way home. One of the two, I'm not sure which, but he is in transit. And he has been going to places like Turkey, the Baltics, things like that, and discussing any number of things. I've got China. I've got the South China Sea. I've got the ASEAN organization. I've got, well, more Turkey. And no, I don't mean gobble, gobble, gobble Thanksgiving turkey. I'm talking about the country of Turkey. Come on, if you don't know that by now. Then guess what? You don't listen to the show very often, and you need to tune in a bit more often. So, alright. I want to thank all of you who keep listening and keep making my show one of the most popular on the station. And that, I don't do it for the numbers. I really don't. I do this because it's something I believe in. The numbers are a bonus, and I thank you all. So, let's get on with the news. Let's talk Iranian elections. Remember, I don't cover U.S. politics, but I'll happily tell you about South Korean and Iran politics. Yeah, I know, I'm crazy. I don't cover U.S. So, infighting among the factions of the Iranian regime in the run-up to the mullah's quote-unquote sham elections, which, yeah, they are sham elections, is worrying the regime's officials. Mohammed Amin, a political expert on Iran, wrote, "The second televised presidential debate in Iran by the 6 candidates received a warning before it began. The debate should be on presidential issues, but we must avoid acts that rattle society." And this was from Mohammed Abdi Karmani. And he recently led Friday prayer in Tehran, which of course, Friday prayer usually reflects Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei's viewpoints. Oh yes, and that's the Friday prayer, which is the most important prayer, Muslim prayer of the week, is usually the one where they start chanting death to Israel, death to America. Just for your information so you can make some connections here. So, here's a couple of the issues that came up during the debates, which I found some of these rather intriguing. The debate followed the warning, and of course they brought shame upon one another. Mohammed Bagar Galibaf had a response on education. Last week, the police discovered that education minister's daughter imported tons of Italian clothes and stored them in her house, while parents said send their daughters to school in turns so they can take turns in using the one set of clothes and shoes. The next jab was from incumbent President Hassan Rouhani. When a member of the Majlis Parliament went to Shiraz, southern Iran, to give a speech, he was attacked with friends of the mayor throwing stones at him. Ibrahim Raisi, one of the most important figures in the 1988 massacre of 30,000 political prisoners, raised the issue of government fraud. The teachers' fund was looted and officials stole 8 trillion tomans. That's about $2.4 billion. Another candidate, Mustafa, I'm not even going to try the last name, guys, who is a so-called reformist and former vice president, unveiled an upcoming crisis of colossal scale. It's estimated that 10 million migrants will be added to the city populations. This will create a struggle between the different tribes, threatening our internal security. Seems the United States isn't the only country struggling with immigration. And then he went on to speak of a previously unknown government scandal. We had an accord called Crescent, due to which we were fined $14.5 billion. Mustafa Salam, a former cultural minister, currently described as a conservative politician, called on Rouhani to talk about the $3 to $4 billion that was embezzled under the pretext of bypassing sanctions to shed light on the fate of this huge amount of money. He continued his attack on Rouhani, asking why he lied about the country's economic growth rate and why he didn't explain that 6 to 8% in economic growth results from oil revenue, when International Monetary Fund estimates show that Iran's non-oil revenue remains at 0.9%. Rouhani and his deputies showed restraint in this debate. After the debate, Rouhani's advisor, Hassanuddin Ashina, revealed the entire regime's fear of uprising. In today's debate, Rouhani was worried and didn't want the debate to be a shock to society. Now, this tells me a couple things, if you read between the lines. Iran doesn't have freedom of press. Keep that in mind, kids. So, Iran doesn't have freedom of press. Iran doesn't have freedom of speech. You can't dress the way you want in Iran. Iran is a Muslim or Islamist nation. In fact, the official name is the Islamic Republic of Iran. That ought to say something right there. I'm going to repeat my warning once again. I never get tired of saying it, although I wish it wasn't necessary anymore. Please, 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 if you're an American, particularly if you're an American with an outspoken personality, please cross Tehran off your I wish to visit, travel plans. You can keep it on your wish list, but don't book any plane tickets anytime soon. Because Iran, North Korea, they have a habit of arresting Americans and holding them for ransom. And if you're dual nationality Iranian anything, please remember, Iran does not recognize dual nationalities. You will be treated as an Iranian national. And that leaves you without much help or support if anything goes wrong. Now, here's a good one. Russia is seeking to convince the U.S. to accept an Iranian role in a plan for foreign troops to police safe zones in Syria. They want us to accept Iran's help. The U.S. and Iran must show compromise and flexibility in helping to secure the so-called de-escalation zones proposed by Russia to shore up a Syrian ceasefire. And that's according to Putin's Middle East envoy, Mikhail Bogdanov. Russia is trying to mediate between the U.S. and Iran, though it's under no illusions about the difficulties. Does anyone think Iran's going to leave the region? As if you could wave a magic wand and Iran would disappear? Bogdanov literally said that's not going to happen. Of course, Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said after talks with U.S. President Donald Trump in Washington on Wednesday, he hoped the U.S. would make an active contribution to securing safe zones. Lavrov suggested the U.S. may initiate the process in southern Syria near the borders with Israel and Jordan. Russia, Turkey, and Iran signed a memorandum on creating 4 zones at talks involving the Syrian government and opposition groups in Kazakhstan's capital, Astana, last week. Russia believes the U.S. should help enforce the ceasefire in Syria, though it would have to gain approval from Syrian President Bashar al-Assad to deploy any troops to safe zones. Bogdanov said Trump's pragmatic approach as a businessman who loves practical results is encouraging to Russia, and hopefully that life eventually puts everything in its place to help end the conflicts. While the U.S. recognizes the parts played by Russia and Turkey in the Astana peace process, it regards Iran as having an unconstructive role in the region that it can't praise under any circumstances. So, this ain't looking hopeful, folks. And I really don't see it coming to pass. Do I want to continue reading off terrible reports from Syria? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't want to read about more attacks by Assad on his own people. I don't want to read about dash tearing people up. I really wish I was absolutely worked out of a job and my news broadcasts had to go out, reduced drastically, or be harder to put together because there was less conflict and violence. Because I will admit, I cover a lot of terrorism, kids. A lot. All right. We are bouncing back to Iran, and we kind of haven't left yet. The head of the Iranian Armed Forces warned Islamabad on Monday that Tehran would hit bases inside Pakistan if the government does not confront Sunni militants who carry out cross-border attacks. 10 Iranian border guards were killed by militants last month. A Sunni militant group had shot the guards with long-range guns fired from inside Pakistan. Of course, that border region has long been plagued by unrest from both drug smuggling gangs and separatist militants. And of course, Iran expects, and I'd say rightfully so, Pakistani officials to control the borders, arrest terrorists, and shut down their houses. But of course, Iran, you're the largest state sponsor of terror. Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, come on. So, in 2014, Iran warned it would send troops to Pakistan to retrieve 5 Iranian border guards kidnapped by Jaish al-Adal. Pakistan said at that time that such action would be in violation of international law and warned Iranian forces not to cross the border. Iran refrained from sending the troops when a local Sunni cleric stepped in and resolved the situation. Jaish al-Adal is a Sunni militant group that has carried out several attacks against Iranian security forces with the aim of highlighting what they say is a discrimination against Sunni Muslims in Iran, where of course the majority are Shiites. So once again, shows your Sunni Shia politics at play, kids. Now, Russia has not been playing nice. I don't care what you say. And we are almost at the bottom of the hour. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to remind you folks that if you don't catch my show live, and I understand sometimes it can be a challenge. Oh yeah, I get you. It's an interesting time, 9 o'clock Eastern, Monday through Friday. I get it. Please do catch it. Don't forget it's on iTunes, Google Play, Podcast.com, Pocket Cast, Blueberry, and many, many other places. Just go to your favorite podcast provider and put in Jesse's POV. And if it doesn't pop up, shoot me an email at jessespov@klrnradio.com and I'll see about getting it added there. Alright, folks. It is time to pay them bills. And I gotta take a commercial break, which means I will see you on the other side.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
All right, thank y'all for hanging in there with me over that commercial break. Now, I mentioned Rush had been misbehaving before I dashed off to commercial break. Well, it seems a Russian fighter jet, specifically an Su-27, made a low flyby of the USS Donald Cook in the Baltic Sea. The jet came with as close as 30 feet. Just one mechanical failure, one pilot error, or a patch of freak turbulence could have caused a catastrophe. What's the potential fallout? Well, 2 Russian Su-24 fighter jets flew at extremely low altitude over the American guided missile destroyer USS Donald Cook in the international waters of the Baltic Sea. These incidents happened around 70 miles from the Russian enclave of Kaliningrad, which features a city of around 500,000 people near a key military base. It's a technique known as buzzing. It was a staple of the Cold War. But this week's maneuvers were so close, even experts were startled. Keir Gillis, an associate fellow at the London-based Chatham House think tank, told the media one of the jets was actually lower than the ship's superstructure, and this is certainly the closest I've seen on video. The ensuing U.S. outcry was, of course, dismissed by Russia later on Thursday, with officials saying, "We don't understand such a painful reaction from our American colleagues. Hey guys, if anything went wrong, we'd have lots of dead people. Get over it." How dangerous was it? The jets came close enough for the U.S. sailors to see that the aircraft appeared to be unarmed. Nevertheless, flying so close to a warship is still extremely risky. Say they had an engine failure or a hydraulic... Excuse me. Say they had an engine or hydraulic failure and the Russian jet had barreled into the side of the destroyer. You'd have multiple U.S. Navy casualties, possibly even the loss of the ship. This is the sort of thing that starts wars. Accidents can happen even with modern military technology. However, the Russian Su-24 came into production. Alright guys. We are going to take a second very brief commercial break while I deal with my nose. Because this is just getting out of paw, as Host Kitty would say. So I'm going to drop just a not even quite 1 minute commercial break, and I will see you on the other side.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from the critique of the short story through to line edits on full-length novels. We also offer assistance on generating writers' bios for your websites. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
And thank you for hanging in there with me while I hopefully got my nose under control. 'Cause it's just been one of those days, kids. So, that is very much a dangerous act. The Russians, I'm sorry, if you're a professional aviator, you do not fly that close to another plane. That ain't professional. And it certainly isn't safe. So I'm sorry. While I enjoy that sound, keep it more than 30 feet away from the ships, guys. I'm sorry. That's just wrong. Alright. Now that we've taken care of the Russians and their Baltic Sea incident, oh yes, I've got an audio clip from Secretary of Defense Mattis when he was in Lithuania. Let's take a listen.
Even in the face of a neighbor next door shredding trust, Lithuania has nonetheless contributed to the NATO-led mission far away in Afghanistan, and it has continued to provide capable trainers for the counter-ISIS mission in Iraq. I believe that 2014 was a watershed year here in Europe. Lithuania, your Baltic neighbors, and the NATO alliance face dangers from terrorism and aggression, cyber attacks, and more. In response, we must adapt NATO's stance and affirm our commitment to common defense. Have no doubt we stand with you, united in a common cause. NATO stands visible and indivisible in the face of any threat to sovereignty, any threat to international law, or any threat to international order.
Those are pretty strong words from our very own Secretary of Defense, Mad Dog Mattis. And yes, I like using his nickname. Now, here's some other words he spoke that I thought were well worth listening to.
Marking that occasion, President Bush said, and I quote here about NATO's new members, that you brought moral clarity to the purposes of the alliance. Moral clarity, knowing that when great democracies fail to confront danger, far worse peril can follow. So now, united by our transatlantic bond, I believe that you who have withstood oppression can most keenly savor freedom and never taking it for granted or looking away when it is threatened.
All right, I got one more clip from Mattis in Lithuania. Let's get that queued up for you.
The United States' commitment to the security guarantee of NATO's Article 5 remains ironclad.
Now, for those of you who don't know what the Article 5 of NATO is, an attack on one is an attack on all. It's the part of NATO that says, we will defend our NATO allies. It's been activated once. What? You thought it had been activated more? No, just once, and we activated it. 9/11. Yes, it's the only time Article 5 has actually been used. All right, got a couple more things to get to. Got a couple more things. I got some more NATO clips. We'll see if we've got time to get to them, because I think they're important. Let's talk South China Sea. Yes, that ever-prevalent topic. You know, guys, every time I bring up the South China Sea, I tend to get more listeners from Taiwan, even a few from Beijing. I find that fascinating. All right, the Philippines has begun moving forces into the disputed Pagasa Islands in the South China Sea. Pagasa Island is claimed by both Manila and Beijing, according to a Philippine general. The U.S. Pacific ally has planned to build infrastructure and lengthen the airstrip on the island. The troops and initial supplies arrived at Pagasa Island this week. It's also called the Spratly Islands, depending on who you talk to. Some 1.6 billion pesos, about 32 million, has been set aside for construction on the island, which will include reinforcing and lengthening the airstrip and building a dock. Solar power, a desalination plant, and refurbishment of military housing, as well as sites for marine research and tourists, are also set to be built on the island. Earlier this month, Chinese Ambassador Zhao Jinyu warned that any construction on the island, known internationally as Thitu, would be illegal. We view the occupation of the Philippine side of those islands as illegal, and also building on it are also illegal. And Zhao added that China would give warning to any introducing aircraft in the island's airspace, as well as any unwelcome planes which might fly into the airspace of the larger Kailan Island group. The Philippines Department of Affairs shrugged off Zhao's statements, with spokesman Bolivar, stating that the island and the Kalan groups are a municipality of Palawan, a province of the Philippines. Pagasa is the second largest island in the Spratly Archipelago, also claimed by Taiwan and Vietnam. Remember, folks, these countries filed suit against China, and they're claimed that they own the entire South China Sea, and they took it to the International Court of Arbitration, which essentially slapped China down and said, no, you don't own that. Because remember, China did their own real-world version of Minecraft and built islands where there were none just so they could claim them? And the International Court of Arbitration said, not a chance, kids. So, this could be interesting. Now, of course, the ASEAN Summit issued a declaration on the South China Sea. And China on Tuesday welcomed a statement from the Association of Southeast Nations, the ASEAN Summit, and reaffirmed cooperation with ASEAN on the South China Sea issue. This might intrigue maritime experts, as a diplomat revealed that even other ASEAN claimants of the South China Sea, including the aggressive Vietnam, did not open the discussion with their neighboring countries. So, however, what the statement lacked was the militarization of the South China Sea. Critics are disappointed that China's alleged buildup in the military buildup in the South China Sea was not mentioned in the ASEAN chairman's statement, which capped the week-long summit of the regional bloc. There was no one who strongly pushed or mentioned anything about land reclamation. Untie my tongue here, kids. And militarization. But it is also President Duterte's view that this is not the time to take a hard position against China. Makes me wonder why he's insisting on building on this other island. Because yes, these articles came out the same day. So, who knows what's going to happen. Now, also in South China Sea news, China sent a quote-unquote monster ship to roam the South China Sea. It is a 12,000-ton China Coast Guard cutter, which some analysts call the Monster. It is larger than the U.S. Navy's Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruisers and Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers. Unlike most other Coast Guard ships, this vessel runs heavily armed with 76mm rapid-fire guns, 2 auxiliary guns, and 2 anti-aircraft guns. The South China Sea Division of China's State Oceanic Administration reported recently that the ship spent about 3 weeks patrolling the islands claimed by Beijing to protect China's maritime rights. The recent South China Sea tour was CCG 3901 Cutter's first official patrol, which is the official number for the monster ship. China prefers using its Coast Guard as primary enforcer of its maritime claims. Excuse me, my nose is obviously not under control, but we're going to try and push through. China prefers using its Coast Guard as primary enforcer of its maritime claims, according to the Pentagon's Office of Naval Intelligence. In a past report, was reported of saying to the diplomat in a previous report, China's fleet of Coast Guard vessels is huge, with an estimated 220 ships. While China is developing its naval capabilities, when it comes to the contested South China Sea, China relies heavily on its Coast Guard and maritime militia forces to carry out gray zone aggression against other claimants, and in some cases the Chinese Navy gray hulls are more likely to cause the situation to escalate than some of the other vessels. CCG 3901 outclasses the patrol vessels of other claimant states. Of the 46 incidents that occurred in the South China Sea, the Chinese Coast Guard was involved in 72%. So, Kids, the South China Sea is an ongoing issue, and we'll probably see more about it. Alright, so what is Quackers up to? Oh yes, this one I almost cracked up, as if he actually expects this one to happen. I'm sorry, he definitely has earned his nickname, Quackers. Oh yes. Alright, if you recall, a little while back, I reported on an alleged attempt to assassinate Kim Jong-un. Now, I say alleged because, well, the only people that reported it was North Korea, and they reported such a weird attempt that I don't see how it could even be an attempt. Oh yes, I just don't see it, kids. And you know me, I can usually play a good game of connect the dots. So, this article, which I found in multiple places, absolutely made me laugh. Pyongyang will seek the extradition of anyone involved in what it says was a CIA-backed plot to kill leader Kim Jong-un last month with a biochemical poison. And this is according to, quote, a top Korean foreign ministry official. Han Sung-rol, the vice foreign minister, called a meeting of foreign diplomats in Pyongyang to outline the North's allegation that the CIA and South Korea's intelligence agency bribed and coerced a North Korean man into joining the assassination plot, which the North's Ministry of State Security has suggested was thwarted last month. North Korea's UN mission late Thursday issued a statement calling the purported plot to kill Kim a declaration of war. Oh, so you want to declare war on us? Do me a favor, fire the first shot. We'll take it from there. It was an aim to hurt the mental mainstay that all Korean people absolutely trust and eclipse the eternal sun of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The North State media have been running stories about the plot since last week. The Security Ministry has vowed to ferret out anyone involved in the alleged plot, which it called state-sponsored terrorism. The UN mission said the Ministry of State Security has declared that a Korean-style anti-terrorist offensive will be commenced to mop up the intelligence and plot-breeding organizations of the U.S. and South Korea. Han took that a step further with the extradition statement. According to our law, the Central Public Prosecutor's Office of the DPRK will use all available methods to start work to demand the handover of the criminals involved so as to punish the organizers, conspirators, and followers of this state-sponsored terrorism. North Korea claims the primary suspect is a man who is identified only by the ubiquitous surname Kim. It says he is a North Korean resident of Pyongyang who worked for a time in the Russian Far East. State media said he was involved in the timber industry in Khabarovsk, which is one of the primary places North Koreans can go to work overseas. The North further said a South Korean agent named Jo Ki-chol and a secret agent named Ju Jung-ha, general director of the Kundago Trade Limited Company, met Kim in Daedong on North Korea's border with China to give him communications equipment and cash. The North also said a guy surnamed Han taught Kim how to enlist accomplices. Those terrorists plotted and planned in detail for the use of biochemical substances, including radioactive and poisonous substances, as the means of assassination, Vice Minister Han said, reading from a paired statement. These biochemical substances were to be paired with the assistance of the CIA, with the South Korean intelligence services providing support. North Korea's UN mission said the organizers infiltrated the terrorists into the DPRK with several pieces of satellite communications equipment so he could be updated with the operational code of the terrorism against the supreme leadership, various terrorist methods of using biochemical substances, ways of bribing and hiring the one who would actually carry out the terrorist act, and ways of entering the venue of the event. The statement said organizers also gave him instructions to report on the creed of the person who would carry out the attack and the state of his quote-unquote brainwashing to make sure the intelligence agency backed the operation. In statements for foreign distribution, North Korea often refers to its leader, Kim Jong-un, without naming him. Instead, they often use the phrase supreme leadership or supreme dignity. The last time that Han appeared to brief foreign diplomats in Pyongyang was last December to present North Korea's response to the latest round of UN sanctions. So like I said, kids, North Korea does not do press conferences. And they actually expect us to extradite a single person? Quackers, you've lived up to your name. I'm sorry, you've lived up to it. I'm sorry. I don't see our government extraditing anyone to North Korea since we don't even have diplomatic relations, let alone a signed extradition treaty with them, because they wouldn't send our soldiers who defected back to us. So guys, guess what? That's not how it works. It just ain't how any of this works. In fact, Martha, say it for me.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Bingo. So, now of course we do know that North Korea has been acting a fool, threatening another nuclear test, which I wouldn't be surprised to see show up on the newsfeed any day now. So, but you gotta admit, North Korea expecting the U.S., with whom it has no diplomatic relations, let alone an extradition treaty, to send someone to North Korea for punishment? I'm sorry. That's just beyond the pale. Alright, I got one last story I tripped over while I was doing my show prep. Huiyan Qichen, an imperturbable Chinese diplomat who as foreign minister and vice premier steered his country on a pragmatic course through the end of the Cold War, the collapse of the Soviet Union, and bitter quarrels with the United States, died on Tuesday. He was 89. Official Chinese reports announced Mr. Qian's death but did not give a cause. Mr. Qian, whose full name is roughly pronounced Qian Chi Chen, had mostly stayed out of the public eye in recent years, but on Thursday his death was mourned on the front page of People's Daily, Communist Party's main newspaper, a sign of the deep imprint he made in shaping a muted, unsentimental policy after the Soviet bloc fell apart in 1991 and chipping away at China's isolation from the West in the years after 1989. Deng Xingpao was the architect of China's pragmatic foreign policy, but Chi Chen was the diplomat who carried it out. So, Chi Chen's tough yet phlegmatic manner underwent its biggest test when the United States and other Western nations bridled with revulsion after Deng, the party's most powerful elder, ordered soldiers in 1989 to crush pro-democracy protests that engulfed Beijing and other Chinese cities. Hundreds of civilians died in gunfire and the chaos on roads leading to Tiananmen Square. I'd say any diplomat who can withstand all that is truly one for the history books. All right, folks. I gotta make my way out of here for the Jen and Rick Show. As a reminder, you can find me on Twitter at Jesse's POV. You can shoot me an email at jessespov@KLRNRadio. And I will see you guys next time.